Hello everyone. Today we are going to study about introduction to operating system, that is in our unit 2. इसमें जो हम कंटेंट्स पढ़ेंगे definitions and functions of operating system. Now let us start with definition. So with definition, the operating system is the main software that controls the internal working of the computer, allows the software to run and provide an interface to the user to access hardware devices. Operating system Operating system is the main software that controls the internal working of computer, allows the software to run and provides an interface to the user to access hardware devices. Or we can say an operating system, that is abbreviated as OS, is a system software that helps us to operate computer system. It performs a number of tasks to help us on the computer. Or we can say it is the interface between the user of the computer and the hardware of the computer. The three most important tasks that an operating system performs. First one, operating system controls and coordinates the internal working of the computer. The functioning of all input, output, storage devices and CPU is controlled by the operating system. As we all know, in our computer system, we have input devices, we have output devices, we have storage devices, and we have CPU. All these devices are controlled and coordinated by the operating system. The operating system acts as the interface between the user and the computer hardware devices, allowing them to communicate with each other. As we have already said, as I have already said, the operating system acts as the interface between the user and the computer hardware devices, allowing them to communicate with each other. The operating system provides a platform to the application software to run on the computer. No software can run on the computer if it does not have an operating system. So, these are the three most important tasks that an operating system performs. Next, some examples of operating system are MS-DOS, which is called as Microsoft Disk Operating System, MS Windows, Linux, and Mac operating system. Why do we need operating system? Initially, working on computers were very tough and specialized job. It was a specialized job. Only experts who had an inside out knowledge of the computer hardware could work on the computer. A normal person can't work on computer. Only the specialized person they can do or operate the computers. Nowadays, we all can operate the computer system, but initially it was very tough and specialized job. An operating system makes it possible to operate a computer without knowing anything about the computer hardware or architecture. Then comes operating system, which makes it possible to operate computer without knowing anything about much the computer hardware and architecture. So that's why we need the operating system. Then what are the functions of operating system? The main functions that operating system performs: processor or CPU management, memory management, file management, device management, application management, provide interface, data security and error detection, command interpreter. So one by one we will see these functions. So first of all, processor or CPU management. It keeps track of the processor and status of the processes. The part of operating system responsible for this task is known as traffic controller, as it keeps a track of all the processes and processors, status of the processes and track on the processor. So that is why it is known as traffic controller. It decides which program gets processor time, when and for how long. This function is called process scheduling. That part which decides which program gets processor time and when or how long. This function is called process scheduling. It allocates the CPU to a process and deallocates when the processor no longer needs it. So these are some functions in the CPU management, or we can say process management. Traffic controller, it acts as a process scheduling and allocates and deallocates the processes when the processor no longer needs it. Next come memory management, means the management of primary and main memory of the computer. It keeps track of primary memory, that is, which part of the primary memory is in use, which program is using the memory, which part of the memory are free, and so on. Our operating system also keeps track on our memory part. It can also keep track on which program is using the memory and which part of the memory are free and how long the memory is busy by which program. It decides the memory requirement of programs and allocates the memory accordingly. It deallocates the memory when program is closed and make the freed up memory available to another program. So all these things are done in memory management. Then comes file management, the system that an operating system uses to organize and keep track of files is called its file system. It keeps track of information, location, users, status, etc. of the data and the directories. It performs operations like creating, deleting, storing, organizing, and locating files and folders. Next, it is control access to the files through file access authentication and authorization. So, these works are done in file management. Then comes device management. It keeps track of all input and output devices attached to the computer through a program known as input output controller. Whenever an application or process makes an input output request, or we can say IO request, the operating system passes it on to the concerned device driver. The request is then executed by the device driver. It allocates and deallocates devices to the processes and applications in the most efficient manner so as to optimize the working of the computer system. Next come application management. The operating system manages the various application programs like MS Word, MS Excel, Internet Explorer, etc. running on computer using different application program interfaces, or we can say APIs. Then comes provide user interface. The operating system acts as a user interface, providing consistency in the way in which interaction takes place between the user and the computer system. Next come data security and error detection. Data security and error detections are two other important functions that an operating system performs to help user to secure their important data and find any error on the computer. Command interpretation. Command interpreter is the basic interface between the computer and the user. Command interpreter provides a set of commands using which user can give instruction to the computer for getting some job done. The various commands supported by command interpretation modules are known as a system call. With the help of system call, we can do some job or a set of commands using which user can give instruction to the computer for getting some job done. Thank you.